Hi, and welcome back to LRATC Rewind. My name is Noah, and I'm the host of today's show, and this is my co-host, CJ.
Today we have a 2010 ATC grad from the Computer Repair and Network Technology program. Currently, he works at a company you may have heard of, Amazon, as a senior software development engineer. Hey Matt, thanks for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
So what led you to becoming interested in computers?
You know, I was always kind of interested with like how things work, and I had taken a computer science course in high school, and I think that kind of just led me to wanting to learn a little bit more, and that's what led me to take the course at ATC.
Would you say you had this interest when you were younger, like maybe as a kid, things like that fascinated you, or?
Yeah. I've always like wanted to, take things apart to see how they work.
Fair enough. That's good. So why'd you choose to come to ATC instead of going somewhere else?
I was going to high school at Windsor Park, and I had heard of the program, and it was a good way to get some high school credits. So it seemed like a good fit.
Okay. And so did you come for the second semester of grade 11 like a lot of people do, or did you come in grade 12?
I think it was the second semester of grade 11. It's been a while, so I don't. My memory's a little fuzzy on that, but I know this like the second half of the program I did after graduating.
And when you came to ATC, what was the most favorite part or most memorable part? Because I'm not too sure what they do in that program, so if you could explain that a little.
Yeah, so the program's kind of split into two halves. So the first half is mostly focusing on computer repair, and so we learned about different parts of the computer, how to take a computer apart and build and put it back together, how to clean out the inside, and then a lot of kind of general installation of software and how to manage that. I think like taking the computer apart was or putting computers together was my favorite part of the program. And then in the second half, it was all network technology, so learning how routers work, and not just like the kind of router you buy for home, but the kind of large industrial routers that big companies use. Learning how to program those, and then planning networks. That was really interesting.
Would you say you caught on to that really quickly, or did it take a big learning curve? Because I know trying to take apart and put together a computer sounds really complicated.
I picked up on it pretty quickly, and I'm kind of a pretty fast learner, so it clicked for me.
Okay, so how did ATC, while you're there, how did it help you prepare for going to U of M and taking that computer science course?
There was a work placement in the program, and I actually got a work placement with the IT department at the U of M. And what that helped me with was when I was going to U of M, I ended up getting a part-time job there as well. So I was able to work doing a lot of this stuff while I was studying computer science.
Would you say it was hard to get into the U of M for that, or did they accept you pretty willingly? Or
I think I had pretty good grades in high school, so it wasn't a problem getting into the U of M.
And how long did it take? How many years was your course?
It was a 4-year program, but I did co-op as well, so that some kind of more work placements, and that extended it to 4.5, 5 years. I graduated in 2015. And
you were saying that you now work at Amazon. Did you go to Amazon right out of university, or did it take a little while to get there?
Yeah. So one of the co-op placements I had at university was an internship with Amazon. So that was a 4-month summer internship. Working with them was a lot of fun, and they really liked the work that I did, so they hired me back full time after I graduated.
So what specifically do you do at Amazon? Because that's a really big company, and I'm sure there's thousands of jobs.
Yeah, so my title is a senior software developer. Specifically what I do, the team I'm on is the Builder Tools organization. So we build and maintain the systems that other software developers at the company use. around like building and deploying their software across the company.
So is that for the website, or if you could explain that a bit simpler?
Yeah, what I build is really an internal tool, so nobody outside Amazon sees it, but everybody else, like the people who build the website, the people who build AWS services, the people who build Kindles, they all use our services.
So basically, you are in charge of making and maintaining the building blocks for everything else.
In a way, yeah. More like the infrastructure that those building blocks use to it is kind of difficult to explain, but...
No, that makes sense. Okay. How has COVID affected, because it's been bad the last couple of years, how has that affected your career and whatnot?
Yeah, so March 2020, there was just one day where Amazon said, don't come to the office tomorrow. Everybody should be working from home, and we all thought it was just going to be like a temporary thing, maybe a few weeks. But I think, as we all know now, it's been a few years. We've all been just working from home since then. Gradually, things have started trickling back into the office. I'm trying to go in once or twice a week now, but I only recently moved back to Vancouver. Until then, I was still living in Seattle, and I decided that my wife and I decided to move back largely because I'm working from home anyways, and it was easy enough to keep doing the same job here.
How do you like working from home? Would you say it's a lot more challenging because maybe you don't have as many screens with you, or maybe the Wi-Fi isn't as fast?
So it's less about that and more, you don't get the connection with people that you had when you worked together in an office all the time. Like there were a lot of like interesting ideas that people would have, and we'd just be able to like discuss it in the hallway or something like that, and that's how a lot of kind of interesting ideas would get propagated. We've tried to come up with better mechanisms to do that virtually, but nothing's as good as just like running into somebody and having an interesting conversation with them.
I could understand that because I think a lot of people have experienced that during COVID, where you would like go to the cheesy water fountain or whatever and talk with someone and just talk about your day and different ideas that you're thinking of and bounce off of each other. Whereas making a meeting, that's a lot more complicated, and especially if you don't have cameras on, then it's like you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
You were saying you're a senior software developer. So what did you start as? So when you first came to Amazon, what was your role and how did you build up to where you are now?
Yeah, so when I started, I was just like a junior software developer. It's just a matter of like working on larger and larger projects and taking on more responsibilities. Amazon kind of believes in waiting until you're basically doing the next job before promoting you into the role. So it really is just making sure that you're being recognized for your work, but you're also taking on more and more challenges.
Would you say that was stressful being promoted? Because I know sometimes getting like 50 more responsibilities can be really stressful rather than, oh yay, I got promoted sort of thing.
A little bit. One of the things that that I have been struggling with is, my role now, I'm doing less actual programming and more just writing up designs and planning stuff. So it's less of the stuff that I kind of got into the job for, but it's an interesting challenge, and I think I am like growing into it.
Okay. And do you plan on staying at Amazon for a number of years, or are you looking to move to a different?
Yeah, for now, I'm planning on staying. The people I work with are really smart people, and there's a lot of there's still a lot to learn. So
Okay.
I think I'll stay stay here for a while.
Okay, and do you see yourself here in like, let's pick a number, we'll go with like 20 years. Do you still see yourself at Amazon?
Oh, I have no idea where I'll be in 20 years.
Fair enough, just going with the flow there.
Do you have any goals that maybe you want to pursue, like not necessarily at Amazon, but just as a software development person in general?
The kind of goals that I'm looking at right now are mostly just making sure that I'm staying up with what's new in the technology space, and new kind of programming languages come across occasionally that's starting to pick up speed. Like, for example, Rust is one, and I'm trying to learn more about that. And a lot of my particular job is learning about and fitting like software ecosystems. So like I hope I'm not going to get into too much detail here, but most languages kind of have their own community and ecosystem around how they maintain standard libraries, and learning how those work and getting them to work together is kind of something that I'm always learning, and something that my job is actually like it's pretty important to make sure we can figure that out.
Would you say it's difficult adapting to the new technologies or programs that come across?
It can be. Some of them are like they have really good ideas, but they're also things that a lot of the time they're good ideas because nobody's really thought about that before. And so if you're used to programming in a certain way, some of these languages can really change your paradigm about how you have to think about programming.
Okay, so like just as a general idea, how many different coding languages do you use on a daily basis?
Mostly I use Java, but occasionally I do deal with like Perl and Ruby and Python a bit.
Okay, good to know. I know a couple of those. Some of those just went right over my head, but it's kind of interesting. Do you still see anybody from ATC around? Have you worked with any of them in the past?
Unfortunately, because I moved out the West Coast, I don't really have a chance to see anyone from ATC anymore. It's been a while since the last time I saw someone.
Oh, okay.
Now, when you were at ATC, I believe you got a Cisco certification. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Could you explain what that is and how it maybe helped you get into Amazon or the U of M?
I never really directly applied it. It was kind of a more of a fun challenge for me. To see if I could get it. And the things I learned to get it have been helpful. Having that kind of depth of knowledge of how computer networks work is not something that every software developer has. And one of the things that is unique about Amazon is that everyone is sort of a software owner. So a lot of at a lot of software companies, the people who develop the software won't be the people who run or support that software. You'll have different job families for that kind of thing. But at Amazon, it's the people who write the software also are in charge of deploying it and maintaining it and making sure like you're running it on the right kind of host to meet its requirements, and you've got the network set up right for everything to talk to each other. And so having that network background does help me a little bit, and some of the setup of making sure that our services are able to talk to each other and knowing how all that kind of works.
Okay, that makes sense. Just you guys have like a very tight-knit group, and everybody seems to be able to work together and get things done as they know how, and you guys work well with each other. So if you were to talk to somebody who's thinking about coming to ATC, do you have any tips or any sort of something for them?
Do take it as an opportunity to make friends, and I think most ATC programs have a work placement, so that work placement is actually a really, really good way of getting into the industry. So don't let that pass you by.
Thank you very much, Matthew. It's great to have you here. Make sure to check out our Instagram and Facebook at LRSD.TV. And thanks for joining us.
Thank you.